Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavatam Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Pratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadasadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandadhami Bhagavadgita Bhavatveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangha Padakramo Panishadai Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tatkatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam na vidussura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. So let's chant maybe 5 verses. First 5 verses of 5th chapter. Let's do that. Arjuna uvacha Sannyasam karmanam Krishna Sannyasam karmanam Krishna Punaryogam cha shamsasi Punaryogam cha shamsasi Yachreya etayorekam Yachreya etayorekam Tanme bruhi sunishchitam Tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Excuse me. Shri Bhagavan uvacha Sannyasah karma yogascha Sannyasah karma yogascha Nishreyasakaravubhau Nishreyasakaravubhau Tayostu karma sannyasat Tayostu karma sannyas Karma yogo vishishyate Gyeyah sa nitya sannyasi Gyeyah sa nitya sannyasi Yo nadveshti na kankshati Yo nadveshti na kankshati Nirdvando hi mahabaho Nirdvando hi mahabaho Sukham bandhat pramuchyate Pramuchyate Sankhya yogau pritak balaha Sankhya yogau pritak balaha Pravadantina panditaha Pravadantina panditaha Ekamapyasthitas samyak Ekamapyasthitas samyak Ubhayor vindate phalam Ubhayor vindate phalam Yat sankhyahi prapyate sthanam Yat sankhyahi prapyate sthanam Tad yogairapi gamyate Tad yogairapi gamyate Ekam sankhyam cha yogam cha Ekam sankhya cha yogam cha Sapashyati 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 sapashyati. Okay. So the 5th chapter, which is called Sannyasa Yoga. That's the name of the chapter, Sannyasa Yoga. As we saw last week in the beginning of this chapter, starts with Krishna clarifying for Arjuna that there is a difference between sadhana and lifestyle. So you can have some choices and lifestyles, but the sadhana needs to be the same. No matter what lifestyle that you have, as we saw last time, that you can be a householder. Householder means to take up a job and to get married, to have children, to keep a single house, that lifestyle. And that lifestyle means a life of both responsibilities and expectations. So both ways. So you have responsibilities towards your family and towards society. And you also have expectations from the families and from the society. So this characterizes the lifestyle of grihastha. Grihe tishtati iti grihastaha. So sthaha means being rooted in a house. Rooted in a house, having some place where you stay. I remember Swami Dayanand used to say that. He says, regardless of what you do, regardless of what your life, your type of work that you do, and so on and so forth, if you become a grihastha, your most important contribution to your family is to have a place that they can come to. And as those of you that have grown-up children, you will say, this is a very big thing. And not only the physical place, but emotional and psychological place. They should feel very comfortable in coming to your house. House becomes a home. And it should be done in that manner. A funny thing that happened to me one time. So my boss at Hewlett-Packard built a new home in Los Altos Hills, long time ago. I remember, 30, 35 years ago. And invited, he had a big party in his new home. And so we all went there. So my wife and I went in, we were given some drinks and some hors d'oeuvres, and then they said, look around the house. It's a very beautiful home there. It's a circular. It was kind of like, I remember that. So the living room was circular. Usually you don't see circular things. It's all rectangular. But this is a circular thing, huge ceilings, wonderful, and so on. Then we went to see where the bedrooms were. So they had a master bedroom, huge, beautiful, lovely master bedroom, and so on. So we said, nice, very nice, very nice. Then we started looking at some other bedroom, and we couldn't find any other bedrooms. There was an outhouse, which is a small outhouse, like a guest house, but in the main house, so we said, there's something not quite right about this. So we sort of asked them that, where are your other bedrooms? They said, we don't have any other bedrooms. So we said, just a master bedroom? He says, yep. Why? So we didn't say, why or anything. We just said, oh, really? How come? We were being polite. And they said, we have had enough with children in our house. When we retire, We don't want them to come and live with us anymore. And so if we have extra bedrooms, we know what will happen. Our daughter will come, Dad, can I live there because I cannot afford my own place, this, that, or the other. Pretty soon your house has now become a rest house for your children. We don't want that. We just want to be alone. So my wife and I both looked at each other. We said, oh my God, what thinking, these people. So anyway, Swami Dayananda used to say that. He says the most important contribution of a grihastha is a place with open doors, hopefully, definitely to your family and even otherwise sometimes to others, where meals are always prepared, where children feel welcome. So this is your responsibility. And you also have expectations that I can always go there, and so on. Anyway, this is one lifestyle. The other lifestyle is, and by the way, this lifestyle also means paying property taxes. And making sure that there is some police presence. And, there's protection, fire, and etc., water bills, all of that. The other lifestyle is life with sannyasi, where you don't have a home. And in fact, you don't have a family. In fact, it is said that when you meet a sannyasi, they say that do not ask the sannyasi about the previous life. Where were you born? How old are you? How many brothers and sisters do you have? No. Because when a sannyasa is taken, you become, this is not done in this country as well, but this is very prevalent in India, where you sever your relationship with the family. It's like a newborn. You have no relationship, no responsibility, and no expectations also. If you can find a place in an ashram where you contribute something, then there are ashrams available all over the place. But if not, then you just go place to place, beg. You just have a small hut somewhere, and you don't pay any taxes, no property taxes for that hut or anything. In fact, remember that. So what happened was that this is not done anymore, but back in about 50, 60 years ago, if you went to Rishikesh, you'll find that both sides of the Ganga were completely open. Completely open. And the government owns it, no private ownership of that. And what used to happen is, which is exactly what happened to Swami Dayananda, he just went there and started to teach a couple of people and built a very small hut on the banks of the Ganga. And he just sort of like set up shop there. And there was no property taxes, or he didn't own it or anything like that. It was just his place of just sheltering there. That grew to be the big ashram now. And so pretty soon, this happened with lots of people. They will just sit someplace and they'll say, okay, this area, can I just have this area? They'll say, okay, fine. There's nobody else here. You can take it. So anyway, now the ashrams have gotten some title and the government has made it a bit more formal. But this is exactly how it was. And in this ashram, there are a few people that live there. But there are a lot of other people that don't have a home. They just sleep under a tree or something, and they don't expect any meal. They don't say, where is my breakfast? I'm hungry. Who's going to give me breakfast? No. You go and beg for it. So this lifestyle is that of no responsibilities and no expectations. And in the meantime, what you're supposed to do is to just study and do some karma, some help to others. So we'll go into that in a way. So these are the two lifestyles that are discussed in the Gita. I'll close the loop in a minute. I'm just giving you an overall feel for it. But in both the lifestyles, namely a grihastha and sannyasi, both of them have to use the same methodology for reaching freedom. This is called sadhana. So the sadhana is the same for everyone. What lifestyle you have is up to you. And the lifestyle also can be chosen based on your aptitude, your mental capabilities. So we'll come to that in a minute. So there is it's not as though it is arbitrary. It's not arbitrary. What lifestyle you choose also should fit your mental capability, physical capability. But regardless of the lifestyle, everyone has to follow the same sadhana. And what is the sadhana? The sadhana is two stages to it: karma yoga and jnana yoga. Karma yoga and jnana yoga. And karma yoga means, first stage is the sadhana. So here remember the words that I'm just revising this from last time. So the two words used are sadhana, which means a means of accomplishment is called sadhana, and sadhya, which means that once the means of accomplishments are over, then what is reached by the means is called sadhya. It's called sadhya. And here the example of this is, for example, supposing that you're hungry. And the means of satisfying your hunger is to do something in order to cook or to buy things and so on. So this is called sadhana. What is sadhya is that your hunger is satisfied. This is called sadhya, which is the accomplishment. So we studied this in 4th chapter also, remember? Because there we saw that the yajnas is very similar to that. Is a continuity here between 4th and 5th. All Gita is continuous. We saw that the karma yajna, dravya yajna, the dravya yajna all culminated in jnana yajna. Similarly, here also the stages are karma yoga and jnana yoga. So now, a couple of important things to understand this. Karma yoga and jnana yoga are not alternate paths to accomplish freedom. This is not true. It's not as though you have to reach a temple on a hill and you can approach it from the left side, or you can approach it from that side, or you can approach it from another side, which is bhakti yoga. This is typically what is done. There are three methods. You do karma yoga, I do jnana yoga, and that person does bhakti yoga. And you whatever you want to do, but we are also going to the same place. No. This has to be clearly understood. Vedanta says this does not work. Then what works? What happens is that the karma yoga is, there's a single path, kind of like, if I'm just visualizing this, supposing there's a big temple on top of a hill. There is a single path to get there. But you may need to go from the main road to the bottom of the hill to catch the only path of climbing up the stairs to the temple. It's not as though you have different paths going in. So that is what needs to happen. Karma yoga is to get close to the temple. Whatever freeway you take, there you have different ways. You have main roads, freeways, whatever it is, bus, etc. But everyone has to go to the bottom of the hill and then go climb the hill on foot. So sadhana only consists of two things: karma yoga and jnana yoga. What about bhakti yoga? No, because bhakti yoga also can be divided into some bhakti which is used on karma in the form of karma, and some bhakti that is used in the form of jnanam. So fundamentally there is only two yogas. Yogas means a means to an accomplishment. And those are karma yoga and jnana yoga. And this is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, by the way. This is really we should be very clear about this. There's no ambiguity. So Arjuna was confused about this. Arjuna is saying that, listen, I understand that karma yoga and jnana yoga lead to the same goal. It doesn't it? That's what I've heard. So Krishna says, no, but go on. Tell me what your doubt is. And the doubt in Arjuna's mind is, I don't like doing karma. I want to go to Rishikesh and just meditate. I want to do jnana yoga. I don't want to do karma yoga. Why don't you want to do karma yoga? Because I've figured out that this whole war is just leading to death of people, and okay, let them take care. Let Kauravas take the land, and all right, fine. I don't care. I just want to just be with peace with myself. So this is what he was saying, is that, didn't you tell me that just by meditating on the self, I will reach to the same place? I don't want to do karma. Krishna says, no, not so fast. You can't do this. Why not? Why can't I do that? Because when you go to Rishikesh and start meditating, you are the product of a whole set of backgrounds. Whatever you do is not just arbitrary. In fact, you have a lot of samskaras that bring you up to this point. These samskaras, your ways of thinking, ways of acting, your tendencies, all of that is there. You're the product of that. In fact, you are in this life where you are based on all of your previous lives, which is true for all of us. That really this is a culmination of an entire background where we are taking birth, what we do, everything is based on our previous background. Yes, you can change it to a large degree, but you can't ignore the momentum of the background that you have. So if that is the case, what will happen is you have spent your whole life in trying to become the best soldier, the best archer, the best fighter, the best leader. That's what your whole life has been. You're involved with the skills of fighting and winning wars and being respected and all of that. And all of a sudden you just want to go there and just sit there and just do meditation. I'm telling you, you won't last 1 hour. Think about it. He says you don't realize it. These are all romantic ideas that you have. But you go there and you will, pretty soon you will say, I wonder how that war is going. Are they missing me or not? Who took over my place? All these thoughts will come to you. And the next thing you'll say, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Then you get interrupted. Hey, has anybody, you look for some newspaper. How's that war going back there? And Krishna also says, and Swamiji also will say that. He says, you know what will happen? Another thing is, you've trained yourself to be a leader. And you want to be, that's how you... And so what will happen is that you will go to Rishikesh. Did I drop something? No. You go to Rishikesh, and then you will say, you'll form a union of sadhus. And you'll become the president of the union of the sadhus. Hey, we need to be organized. A lot of food is wasted. We need to do this correctly, and so on and so forth. Rajas. Your sattva has to be gained. You're rajasic and hopefully not much tamasic. He says that what will happen is you will ruin your life. Because this is one thing that happens in the lifestyle. In the case of sannyasi, it's a one-way. Once you become a sannyasi, you cannot say, oops, I didn't like it. Can I become a grihastha again? No. Can't do that. It's a one-way. So once you take a sannyasi and then you say, I made a mistake, really. All that fear of the etc. was just temporary. Now nobody will readmit you. Your whole life will be a mess. You're not happy there, you're not happy here. So don't do that. That's not going to happen. So what to do? It says everyone has to go through a life of karma. And then when your mind is at peace with yourself, you can take to jnana. And you can, there also you now begin. You begin the study. There also there is a big job. So this is interesting that you should see this, that if you look at, if you examine the swamis in your life, so the swamis are also one or two types. So one is called Vividisha Sannyasi and the other one is called Vidvat Sannyasi. So Vividisha Sannyasi means one who desired to know what is going on. And they take sannyasa as a lifestyle to maximize their search for knowledge. If you go to some of these, our ashrams, they're like in the Rishikesh ashram or the Coimbatore ashram. And even in the Sailorsburg ashram to a certain extent, a little less than the others, but there also. What you find is that the people are engaged in some work which is necessary in the ashram, whatever their duties are, bookstore, kitchen, etc., etc. But their main objective is to study. They do puja in the morning, then they study something, then they do some work, and then study some more. Then they take lunch, and if some cleaning up has to be done, then again in the afternoon study, and so on. The 2.5 years that I spent in the ashram in Piercy was exactly like how it was. There were 5 classes every day. 5 classes. And there was no, and then we didn't have any hired help, so we had to do everything ourselves. Everybody had a duty. You do this, you do that, you know, collecting mail, cleaning, etc. It's all done by us. We couldn't afford to get, now things have changed a little bit because we have more money. But at that time we were just hand to mouth. But the whole day we were just studying. And so this is what is called Vividisha Sannyasi. So we were not Swamis, but even if you look at the population of Swamis that you see, there are one of 2 types. One is called Vividisha Sannyasi. Vividisha Sannyasi means Veditomicha. Say it's a grammatical construct, Sananta, where it says, I am desirous of understanding what is going on. This is what I want to do. The second type of sannyasi, and by the way, from that perspective, a Swami and us are doing exactly the same. It's just that in our case, we may not be able to study the whole day. We may be able to study for a short time. But we also want to know what's going on, and the Swami also wants to know what's going on. What it means is the Swami has not yet arrived at the final answer. And most of the Swamis that we see are of that type. They are all Vividisha Sannyasis. This is not easy. Then there is another type of sannyasi, which is Vidvat Sannyasi. Vidvat Sannyasi is where the whole vision is now clear. That the Atma, Anatma, Viveka is done. The practice of understanding is very thorough. And there are no doubts in their mind. And so there's no questions of likes or dislikes, they are comfortable with themselves. This is what is called Vidvat. Vidvat means they are knowledgeable, completely done, they're done. They've reached the pinnacle of their effort. There are very few sannyasis like that. You don't see them very often. Very few. So most of the Swamis are Vividisha sannyasis, just like you and I. So this needs to be clear. So therefore, everyone has to go through sadhana, and the stages of the sadhana are doing karma. So actually there's even an earlier stage than karma yoga, which is doing action for your own sake. This is what most of the people are. Then the next stage of development is where the karma is used as an instrument for reforming your mind. This is the second stage, which is karma yoga. When the mind has been refined to such a state, and here, for example, in all this, I'm just giving you the general idea, and then we will see where the verses are actually explaining this as well. But I'm just giving you the general idea. So here, it doesn't mean that you have to give up likes and dislikes. That's not what it means. You cannot give up dislikes and dislikes. You cannot do that. But the likes and dislikes become non-binding. Here one can see this example, that suppose there is a Swami who's become vidvat, who's become absolutely thorough in understanding and so on. And that Swami happens to hail from South India, let's say. And all his life, what he had was sambar, idli, and dosa. This is what they like, not roti and dal and bharta and all those North Indian kind of things. So this is what they were used to. This is what they were, And now they become vidvat sannyasi. And they cannot suddenly give up their liking for idli, dosa, and sambar. But the issue is there is no problem. And you tell someone, I'm sorry, we cannot give you some idli, dosa, we have to give you some dal, roti, etc. Like, for example, it's interesting. If you go to the, you should do that sometime, honestly, this is so fun. If you go to the Coimbatore ashram, the fun part of there, other than study, is to go to the kitchen. It is so beautiful. It is, they have breakfast which is so tasty, and with Madras coffee to follow. This is when I learned, it was interesting. I used to wonder why in the South India they have these tumbler and they have a katori underneath that. So this is all metal. So the glass and the stainless steel. So everybody used to have that, I used to say, why do you have that? Just have a tumbler, that's enough. Until I went to the Coimbatore ashram. And what would happen is, you go there, you don't want to get up from this beautiful meal. It is just so nice. So, and then the only reason you get up is that I don't want to get fat. So you're very happy with doing that. Then you look at the watch and it is 10 minutes to class. And you have not had coffee yet. So now you quickly go and you put your utensils and you wash it and so on and so forth. And it's 8:20 and the class starts at 8:30. You don't have time to drink coffee. You need both tumbler. So what you do is, and it's hot coffee, you put a little bit into the cup, and then you keep doing this. Then we realized, oh my God, this is such a great thing. So now you can actually cool the coffee quickly instead of having to just do that. So if you go to the Coimbatore ashram, the South Indian food is to die for. It's just so beautiful. If you go to the Rishikesh ashram, I don't know if you ever been to, anybody gone to the Rishikesh ashram? You know what I really enjoy in the Rishikesh ashram? Is moong ki dal. I don't know how they make such a tasty dal, which is about this big. It is meant for 250 people. And they put these red chilies on as a flavor on it. So delicious. And so this is North Indian. So now, supposing there is a Swami who has become Vidvat Swami. And then you say, sir, because they all serve each other, you know, they are served. They don't really do on their own. Somebody will serve them. So they serve them moong ki dal. So the person will say, oh, I'm sorry, I cannot have moong ki dal because I like only dosa. And so then you'll say, what kind of a person is this? He's supposed to be free. He likes, supposing they're both available, then what would you like? He'll say, I want idli sambar. So that means you don't have to give up likes and dislikes. This is to translate that in our life. The idea is not to give up likes and dislikes, but not to be a slave to it. Not to be, I must have this, otherwise I am not happy. This is slaviness. I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. That feeling goes. Whatever happens, happens. Yes, I have certain tendencies and desires, and that's very natural to me. But on a given day, if there is no dosa available, there's only moong ki dal and rice, that's okay too. As long as, you know, I'm not allergic to it. Because I'm very allergic to tur dal. And if they serve tur dal, I am done for. I can die from it. So I can, whenever I go to Rishikesh ashram, because this is all yellow dal, you cannot tell which one is which. So I do have to ask. Every time I go there and say, is there tur dal? And on days they'll say yes, I'll say, okay, I'll skip it. So that part is okay, but otherwise a Vidvat sannyasi he doesn't have to worry about what kind of a food and so on. So really speaking, what Krishna is saying, sadhana is the same for everyone. Lifestyles can be different. So now let us relate it to the verses that are given in here. This is what is being communicated. So, and there is some confusion on the part of Arjuna. So we already saw this on verse number 1 was Arjuna uvacha Sannyasam karmanam he Krishna punar yogam sa shamsasi yat shreyaha etayoho ekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. So he says, you know, in the previous chapters, Krishna, you praise the renunciation of action, but you also praise karma yoga. This is confusing to me. Out of these two, tell me which is superior, because that's what I want to do. Whichever is better, tell me which is better. So here Krishna recognizes there is some confusion in the minds of Arjuna. He says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. He says, both of them lead to the same goal. Sannyasaha karma yogascha nishreyasa karau ubhau. Both the renunciation of action and the actual performance of action. By the way, the Sanskrit word for these is what is called pravritti marga and nivritti marga. So pravritti marga means the path or the option. The option of doing things is called pravritti marga, which is the karma yoga, and nivritti marga, which is renunciation of action. And the renunciation of action, as needs to be clear, is not external but internal. You do things because it is just required on your part, but it's not as though you are really trying to do it for the satisfaction of yourself. So this is where we saw the difference between kamya karma and also karma that is nitya naimittika karma. So nitya naimittika karma are based on prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma means whatever your station in life has actually put you into. Do you do that? That is okay. There's no problem with that. But for you to adopt brand new ideas and pursue them, and to feel that this will now lead me to here and there, that's not necessary. This is the nivritti marga. This is the renunciation of action. So when we say renunciation of action, it doesn't mean you don't do anything. It's just that your attitude is whatever needs to be done, I will do it, but no more. This is the nivritti marga. And pravritti marga means that no, my lifestyle is one where I have to contribute, I have to expect things, but in a particular style, which is called pravritti marga. So here he says, Sri Bhagavan uvacha sannyasah karma yogascha nishreyasa karau ubhau. Both are leading to the same nishreyasa. But out of these two, tayostu karma sannyasat karma yoga vishishyate. But out of these two, the pravritti marga, the action, yoga of action, is better than renunciation of. So now, into summary of what I was saying earlier, the first line says that as a sadhana, both need to be done. Both are equally. As a sadhana, everybody has to do. But as a lifestyle, the grihastha lifestyle is better than a lifestyle of becoming a sannyasi. How can you say that? What do you mean by this is better? Because most of the people are not fit to be sannyasis. You're not ready for it. You don't know how difficult it is, and you won't deal with it. As an example, a sannyasi loves solitude, just peace, enjoys the very feeling of solitude, just loves it. Whereas a person who is not fit to be a sannyasi, which is most of us, will look upon solitude as loneliness. This is what happens to Most of us. Examine your own life. See where you are. If you are very comfortable with yourself, not being surrounded by people, and so on, you are a little closer to becoming a sannyasi. You can discover the independence of yourself. Whereas, if you are afraid of loneliness, you want company so that it keeps you busy, you're not ready for solitude. Look at this. The same state of mind, forget about state of mind, the same state, which is singularity, is viewed differently by karma yogi and a sannyasi. And there what you find is, the tendency is, I need to have people. And I need to have, it was so interesting, I remember this, and Swami Maheshananji actually had the same general example. I remember one time my wife and I were in New Delhi. I still remember this so well because I would usually go there around Christmas time when my parents were both alive. We would always make sure that we visit them at least once a year, if not more often. And we'd spend some time with it. And even after my father died, my mother was alone. And then we'll go and spend some time with her. And so we would typically go. This one time I remember so well, we went there on Christmas time, and we had a flight out of New Delhi back on the 1st of January. And so we were supposed, and it was like at 6 o'clock in the morning from New Delhi, which means that you have to go to the airport like 3 o'clock. So we quickly had meal at about 10, and then we said, okay, let's see if we can go to sleep for a few hours and so on. So now this was the night before the New Year. The noise in the music and all the parties we could not even go to sleep at all. It was so noisy. It was just amazing. So we were talking to our mom, my mother, and we said, there's so much noise and music and so on and so going on here. This is very disturbing. And she says, what do you mean? I enjoy this. What do you mean? And when she comes here, when they would first visit me, I was very happy. Now they can come here and so on and so forth. They would not stay here more than as is necessary because they miss all the halla gulla. They'll go right back and they say, I don't want to stay here. There's nobody. You go to office. My wife also works. And we're not interested in TV. There's nobody. There's no friends. What are we going to do? It's all lonely. So this is the situation. And we just love the fact that you're just by yourselves. And the other thing the difference is, in India, people don't call you before visiting you. So and it happens starting in the afternoon at about 4 o'clock at tea time. You'll see a doorbell. And some friends drop over and say, okay, where's tea and samosas? Here, if somebody shows up, they'll say, yes. What do you want? How come you were here? Is there a problem? So people love their own solitude. Anyway, for a difference between sannyasi, that was just a lifestyle question. But in the sannyasi, you just want the complete solitude. I was telling you this, Swami Dayanandji gave this example. There was one Swami who took this to the extreme. So he came to Swami Dayanandji and said, Sir, I cannot live in Rishikesh. He said, why? Because it has become too noisy. There are all kinds of people and so on and so forth. So I want to go to Uttarkashi, which is several kilometers up on the hills, and I understand that it is very quiet, and this is where I want to go. Swamiji says, okay, fine, I'll arrange for it, and you kindly go there. So one day Swamiji is sitting there after about 3 or 4 months, and this Swami came back and said, I'm back. So Swamiji said, why? What happened to Uttarkashi? He says, well, there were no people, but the noise from the birds is very disturbing. He says, I get up in the morning, and there's so many trees around me, and I just want to do meditation, and I can't do it because these birds are making such a noise. The Swamiji said, oh my God, what are we going to do? So, this means this person is not ready for sannyasa. This is really what it means. And I've also come across swamis who are impatient. They are I was telling you about this, I think I may have told you. There was once, one guy came here from Odisha. He was one of the Swamiji's disciples. So we arranged for some classes and so on. He was such a stickler for punctuality that if you were a few minutes late, he would get upset, visibly upset. He'll start pacing back and forth and says, why aren't we leaving? So we said, no, Swamiji, there's enough time. He says, no. We're 2 minutes late. And so they have, and so my wife also looked at me and he says, what? 2 minutes late? I mean, so what? We'll have plenty of time to go there. What kind of a person is this? And I actually, Swami Dayanandji had asked me at that time, what do you think about this person later on? So I said, Swami, this is okay, but he's a bit too impatient about things. He says, yeah, I know about him. This just means. So now in the case of a householder, so it's okay. You're 5 minutes late, you're 5 minutes early, it doesn't matter because you expect it. So a householder can be more patient, a little closer to the truth, because to accept things as they are and just go with it is a very good quality. So it doesn't mean that you need to do one or the other. It just means if you are not ready to take sannyasa, and most of us are not, then karma yoga is better. This is what Krishna is saying in verse number 2. He says, Tayostu karma sannyasat karma yoga vishishyate. It is better for you to exhaust your negative tendencies by living. Otherwise, you coop it up inside and you become psychologically mess. Don't do that. So here, in the 3rd verse, Arjuna raises a very interesting question. Because he's a pragmatist. He says, Krishna, tell me one thing. You tell me that a sannyasi's progress is faster. And Sri Krishna says, yes, that's true. So if you are ready for sannyasa, then you are on a freeway traveling very fast. You study, you meditate, you question yourself, everything is okay. You don't have to worry about making money and going to a job and this, that, or the other. True, you're faster. So Arjuna asked him a question. All right, how can I speed up my journey of being a householder? Can I become like a sannyasi and speed up my progress like a sannyasi does? Is it possible? This is the essence of the third verse. And Krishna says, actually, that's a very smart question. Good question. Yes, it's possible. So he says, Gyeyaha saha nitya sannyasi yaha na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvaha hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. And so he says, nitya sannyasi, as a householder, you can be a nitya sannyasi. Not just a sannyasi, but nitya sannyasi. So what it means is that in your lifestyle, normally the lifestyle is that you are first, actually here they say there's only, there are four ashramas that are normally talked about, right? So one is as a student, first 25 years as just a brahmachari. Then the next 25 years or close to that is a grihastha. Then you have next 25 years as a vanaprastha. Then the next 25 years you become a sannyasi. These are the four ashramas. But here Krishna only talks about two ashramas, namely grihastha and sannyasi. What about the other two? So there it is said that the first two, which is brahmachari, is meant as a gateway to grihastha. It is just a means to go to grihastha. You become educated, you understand your responsibilities, you have to help out in the family and so on. Then you utilize those skills in maintaining a home. So the brahmachari is really a kind of adjunct to grihastha. And similarly, the vanaprastha is a gateway to sannyasa. It's an adjunct to sannyasa. You prepare yourself. So that's why only two ashramas are discussed, not four. But all four are to be taken as that. So then Krishna says, yes, that's a good question. You can speed up your progress in life and become a nitya sannyasi. So look at the significance of this word nitya as along with sannyasi. The significance is, it's not as though you are waiting for the fourth stage of your life to become a sannyasi. Your entire life becomes a sannyasa. This is what is called nitya sannyasi. Beautiful. You may not be as proficient as a full sannyasi, but your preparation and progress and speed of getting there will be further enhanced by becoming a nitya sannyasi. And how do you become a nitya sannyasi? Na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandva he bhava. That means what we talked earlier. You are no longer under the spell. You are not a slave to your likes and dislikes. have a smile on your face, and just be tolerant. And yes, you don't have to give up your likes and dislikes completely, not necessary. If you are a South Indian, fine, go ahead and continue to eat dosas and idlis. You don't have to have dal and roti. No. And if you are a Westerner, whatever you want to eat, it's up to you. That it doesn't mean that you have no taste or anything. But if things don't go your way, you should be ready for anything. So this is characterized by converting your binding desires to non-binding desires. Very key. And it's really just changing the attitude. Nirdvandvaha. Dvandvaha means the pairs of opposites. Very cold, very hot, very lonely, full of people. And all of those opposites. Good, bad. Manam apana amamanam means being accorded a lot of people saying, wow, what a wonderful guy you are. And others who feel they cannot stand you. So those pairs of opposites. So you don't go from one to the other because they are not lasting. It's also relative. What may be appreciated by one person, someone else may not appreciate you. So look at the shades of gray. Don't be concerned about that. This is what is called nirdvandva. And so he says, if you do that, this is what is called karma. Karma as a yoga. It's called karma yoga. So if you are able to successfully turn karma into a yoga, you are on the highway. Gyeyaha sa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandohi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. You're going to get freedom from problems very quickly. Very quickly. Number 4 and 5, with that, Krishna closes this topic. What topic does he close? The topic that sadhana everyone has to go through. The sadhana has 2 stages to it, karma yoga and jnana yoga. Lifestyles can be different, that's okay. It all depends on what you want to do. Like for example, in fact I won't go through because I'm running out of time, so I'll close off next time, Sankhya Yoga with them. But with just a quick summary, that lifestyle is, you can choose whatever you want to choose. Swami Paramarthananda gave a very good example. He said, if you look at sciences, chemistry, physics, mathematics, biology, and all of these. So if you look at your life, all of them are useful. An understanding of chemistry and physics and biology, etc., is very useful in life. So they are all equally good. You cannot say, chemistry is the best science. Physics, no. Biology, that is the terrible science. No, you can't say that. They're all different aspects of the science, very beautiful. Now, having said that, you can choose any one of them, depending on your ability and your aptitude. You can say, for example, my daughter-in-law, Maya, her father was wonderful in mathematics, and he has given his genes to his daughter. Maya. She's excellent in math. She teaches math at Castellea High School. She gave up, she was a pediatrician. She gave up her career and she says, I love math. And so she is doing math as a career now. Wonderful. So it's not as though the math is superior, it just appeals to you. You feel more comfortable with it. That's okay. So your lifestyle can be anything you want to, but they're all the same. They're all useful in life. That's all that really matters. So with that, I'll close the class today and leave it out for some questions. But then in verses number 4 or 5, Krishna will close this topic, namely that lifestyles can be different, but everyone has to go through the same sadhana. So then he will, after that, on number 6 and 7, he will start a different topic. So this is how the Gita proceeds. Om asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om purnamadav purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Yes, Viren?
Some people say Samuchayavad is not a good idea, that you bundle everything together, but you follow a distinct path is better. Is that true?
Yes, so that in a way that is correct, that you know, so the distinction between really what delivers the goods in life is to understand, is that it's called praptasya prapti, as you know, that I am, that my sense of joy and happiness is me. For some reason I don't appreciate it. This is called praptasya prapti. So this fact can only be known through knowledge. What do you mean by that? You know, there is a confusion, and so remove the confusion about that I am okay the way I am, I don't need any external aids and so on, is only possible through jnanam. Only possible through jnanam. But so karma and jnanam don't exist together. It's one or the other. One or the other. Having said that, what is said by our acharyas is that if the jnanam is somewhat clear, but not very clear, then through the practice of thinking, it is called abhyasa yoga, where you bring up the fact which should be clear to you, but it is not. Give yourself an opportunity to renew it as often as you can. That is helpful. So if that is called as a samuchaya, so be it. But it's not as though the karma and jnanam together have to act together. That's not our view. It's because they are diametrically opposite to each other. Karma is actually born out of ignorance. So it's like saying darkness and light are together. It's not possible. It's only one or the other. But what is possible is that your fruitfulness of the knowledge is lacking because you have a certain insight into it, but not really, you are not following through with it with the kind of urgency and repetition that makes it fruitful for you. So you have to read it, re-expose yourself to it, be dedicated to it. And also another thing, have the vairagya in life. Vairagya in life is the most important thing. Vairagya in life means that you should be willing to give up trivial pursuits and understand the very significance of the importance of the self-knowledge. And if you say, no, it's okay, I'm Vedanta, I understand, but I just want to go to the movies. And there are people who follow every new movie that comes in, who are the actors and what did they do before, and how is this movie doing, is it going to win the Oscar or not, how many places it is playing, and so on and so forth. This is my interest, this is really what I want to do. Vedanta is there, and I understand it, but really this interests me very much. No, not going to happen. Not going to happen. If you go to the movies because somebody, anytime I go to the movies because somebody wants me to come very badly, and they will be hurt if I don't go with them, then it's okay. Even when I'm in the movie, I'm just looking at my watch and saying, when will this be over? That part is okay. You can do it, but you are not. You cannot say samuchaya, that I'm going to study Vedanta for 2 hours in the morning, and for the rest of the 16 hours, I'm going to do some trivial pursuits. Not going to work. No. So something like that. Yeah. Yes.
How do I reconcile so much emphasis on karma with the idea of I'm not the doer?
So that is a very good question, and I think that we will tackle it in due time. We will certainly do that. So the thing is, this is one I'll just close with this for a minute. So the thing is, the sense of doership is tied to my estimation of who I am. And my estimation of who I am is based on the fact that I am a human being with a body, with a mind, and so on and so forth. And so this is what is called the I-ness. So the I-ness is important in doing everything. So I won't have time to completely answer your question, but I will remember it and I will answer it in more detail. But I just want to give you one aspect of that. This is an important, interesting aspect. They say that, in fact, in the morning class, there is a word called prabuddhyate that I was going to comment on later on. I will do so. You are woken up means you need help to be woken up. It's related to your question, so it may not seem like it, but it is. So when they say you are woken up, how? So the example given is that supposing you are in a big hole full of mud. I don't know what the English one would be, but in Hindi they used to call it daldal. Daldal means that you don't have a firm footing. You are in the middle of this muddy thing.
Quicksand.
Huh?
Quicksand.
Kind of like a quicksand, but this is a muddy kind of a version of that. You cannot get out of it yourself. Because the more you get out of it, you are actually in the middle of it, and the more you sink into it. So what you need to do is to get some external aid that pulls you away from it. Okay? Now, I'll just make this statement and then we'll not explain it. As long as you have a sense that this is me, I am the doer, I am responsible for my future, you are in the middle of this quicksand. because you are trying to pull yourself out through the eyes of I-ness, me. And the more you do that, there's no help for you. So what is said is, an external help will come in the form of convincing you that you have to give up the I-ness, my-ness. And there are various ways how this is accomplished, which is the whole study of it is. So you are right. You cannot, this is the issue in our life. This is the final thing that is left. Because this is why they say that in Vedanta, you need someone else to, this is why even reading a book is not very useful. Just look at this, because to read a book, your minus is very much intact. I'm sorry, minus. I-ness is very much intact. I am reading the book. I am as a human being, and so on and so forth. And this is not true. There's something deeper into it than that. That has to be pointed out by the Shastra. And the Shastra points it out by diminishing your I-ness and still maintaining your effectiveness. How this is done is the subject of more study, which I cannot just deal with today. But this is a very good question which requires a fair amount of background building and so on, and we will do so. I'll just say one other thing as part of that question I will let. And in fact, I'll probably just end with that, Shilpa, if you don't mind. We'll take the other question next time. One aspect of that, which is very important, is to rely on an infrastructure. Because if you are not relying on the infrastructure, the I-ness becomes very prominent. I'll give you one example of that in the limited time. Okay? This just happens because I just bought a plug-in hybrid, and I just got the decals from the state. I'm just put them on last night. I haven't tested it because it has to be in the 4-hour window, which on Tuesday night class I will come. Now look at this. Supposing I went into the diamond lane when I don't have the decals, like the cheaters do, okay? They are not relying on the infrastructure. So what happens is their conduct is full of fear, recriminations, a sense of guilt, and all kinds of problems. The infrastructure is you have to have a decal in order to travel in this lane. Okay? And I didn't want to, I don't never break a law. So I will never go in and out or anything like this. I will always stay, even if it is slow, doesn't matter. My mind is restful. Now, the infrastructure allows me to go into the lane. So therefore it says, the I-ness comes about if you charter your own future in your own way. You're not depending upon the laws of the infrastructure. So the law of the infrastructure, which in this case is simply the local laws of the diamond lane, but the whole infrastructure about the Varna Ashrama system is meant so that your I-ness is not needed. You are part of the whole, and you're functioning very well without having to bring up this ego that I am this, I am that, and so on and so forth. So their entire infrastructure of